Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 7th of February and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. Elections in Pakistan. Our beloved friend and our neighbor will go into polls this week. This is going to be the 12th general election over there where around 12.85 crore voters out of the 24 crore population will vote. India perceives elections in Pakistan largely from the viewpoint how the balance of power is going to be maintained between the civilian government and the military, which is wielding real powers. Actually, it is the transfer of power in the military which decides the real transfer of power in Pakistan, and not this elections which decide the power over there. But yes, optimists in India and Pakistan are hopeful that with the change of guard in the political realm in India and Pakistan both, something positive can happen between the two countries which are having relations at an all-time low right now. Next is Mission KARAMYOGI. It is also known as the National Program for Capacity Building of the Civil Servants. As the name suggests, it is making the civil servants of India ready for the future, equipping them with latest technological skills or man tackling skills or human tackling skills. This is directly under the supervision of the Prime Minister's HR Council, because the Prime Minister is very keen that the civil servants are very much important for making our country a developed country by 2047. And he is emphasizing on the fact that the civil servants should not be working in silos. In fact, they should be coordinating well with each other and carrying out various plans, policies, schemes, and the programs of the government. That is why this program is there. Next is CAR T cell therapy. Now, the first patient has become cancer free from this indigenously developed therapy for tackling cancer. We take out the T cells from the white blood cells of the humans suffering from cancer, modify them and infuse a gene in them that is called as chimeric antigen receptor gene, and put them back into the patient. These modified T cells actually identify the cancer cells and destroy them. And that is how a person becomes cancer free. That is why CAR T cell therapy, it is known as, for treating cancers. India is the first developing country to develop this indigenous CAR T cell therapy technology of itself. That is a big achievement for us, and it is more effective than the traditional chemotherapies or radiation therapies for cancer treatment. So let's get started with the first topic, that is elections in Pakistan. This year, that is 2024, is the year where around half of the world's population will be voting. This is a mega election year and nothing of this sort has happened in the past of human history. So Pakistan is one such country and India is also one such country. Will be going into polls in May, around May. So Pakistan, talking about Pakistan general elections, so they are going to hold their 12th national general elections on Thursday, this coming Thursday. Approximately 12.8 crore voters will be voting. About half of the country's population, that is 24.1 crore is their population. Half of this is eligible to vote. They will be voting for the National Assembly, which is the lower house in the center, and 4 provincial legislatures. So there is simultaneous elections in Pakistan. We can infer and understand from this thing. 266 members are there in the National Assembly, that is the lower house, to be elected to the National Assembly by a first past the post system similar to India's. First past the post system is basically, let's suppose there are 4 candidates. Whoever among those 4 candidates receive the highest amount of votes, irrespective of the fact that the number is above 50% or below 50%, will be chosen as the winner. That is simple how first past the post system has to be understood. 60 seats are reserved for women. That is actually very good. Here, India will come into picture at the earliest by 2029. 10 for non-Muslims and will be allocated to parties in proportion to their share of directly elected seats. So, this is how the structure of the National Assembly of Pakistan, which is the lower house, looks like. This is important, that how India perceives this election, because UPSC is not going to ask that what is the electoral process in Pakistan or something like that. Less likely, but yes, how India perceives these elections, we need to understand this. Now, for India, these or whatever elections have been there in Pakistan, we assess or we look at them as what is going to be the balance of power between the elected government and the army, which is wielding the real powers over there. So the way balance of power is going to happen between the civilian government and the military plays out. This is what we need to assess and we need to look. Actually, it is a widely known fact that the military decides over there that who is going to be the prime minister, or actually who is their favorite kind of. Last time 2018 polls when they were there, so they promoted Imran Khan a lot, the ex-cricketer. Imran Khan formed the government over there, became the prime minister. He took certain hard steps against the military during his tenure. He was removed, he was jailed. Now he is barred from contesting elections, still in jail. In 2018, Nawaz Sharif was accused, the previous prime minister from 2013 to 18 was Nawaz Sharif. In his tenure, Nawaz Sharif did some things like this against the military. So he was punished and he was basically forgiven, but he was told to leave Pakistan and go to some other country. So he was there in England. When Nawaz Sharif was sent to England, the Pakistani army promoted Imran Khan. Now Imran Khan is in jail. Nawaz Sharif has come back from England and he is likely to be the next Prime Minister of Pakistan. This is how it goes over there in Pakistan. Whoever is having good relations with the military and the military wants that person to be in that position of power, the military will be doing in all its powers to, put that person on that particular chair. And this is how the powers will be under the military only. But for the world, Pakistan will be having a prime minister, and that too who is democratically elected. So this is how our beloved friend and neighbor plays like. India considers the change of army chief as the real transition of power in Pakistan, unlike democracies where elections lead to peaceful transfers of power. From India's perspective, these elections are more predictable than ever before because, we know that the army is promoting Nawaz Sharif this time. He is going to be the prime minister. But the Pakistanis are saying that these are the most unpredictable elections. We don't know who will be the prime minister. It is like this. So anything can happen. According to the Pakistanis, according to the Indians, we know that Nawaz Sharif has the hand of the military over him. So we see him as the next prime minister. But the big question is that, is there any hope for normalization of relations between India and Pakistan with the new governments in power in both the countries? Because Pakistan will also receive a new leader, a political leader, and India will also receive. Presently, the diplomatic relations between India and Pakistan since 2019, when India abrogated Article 370, are not there. Will there be revival of talks? Will the diplomatic relations be re-established between both the countries? Will we march towards normalization? Actually, if you are too optimistic or too hopeful, then you can say that yes, with the new governments in power on both the countries, in both the countries, we can hope for this. But reality is something different. Unless the military does not want, we will not be able to do that. Unless the political leadership in India does not want, we will not be able to do that. And most importantly, unless Pakistan gives up on sponsoring terrorism, we will not be able to do that. Because our political leaders, whether any minister or the Prime Minister, has clearly stated that terror and talks cannot go hand in hand. That is very clear. And there are ample evidences where state sponsoring of terrorism in Pakistan is happening. Particularly the military or the ISI over there is indulged in this. Now, for India, Pakistan's continuing support for terrorism is the key question. And it has largely adopted a doctrine of indifference, as its western neighbor has slid steadily towards failure on multiple fronts. Now we are indifferent. We are not like ki bhai, Pakistan, we are not having diplomatic relations, it does not look good, our neighbor, so many cultural similarities, but still we are not having diplomatic relations, we should look for establishing diplomatic ties. No, we've given up on that. We've done that enough in the past. Now we are like, bhai, we are indifferent. You, your way, we, our way. And we'll make sure that you are not going to spread terrorism in our country. This is what the largely, the thought process is. Operation All Out is there in Jammu and Kashmir going on. Militancy is at an all-time low. 370 is not there. All these indicators are there to amply testify that terrorism from Pakistan or terrorism from those militant outfits have become weak. And we have largely ignored Pakistan. So it is like this. For the first time in many years, the election cycles of the two countries have aligned. By May, India will have a government with a 5-year mandate, while Pakistan's civilian government will be a few months old by that time, because they are going into polls this week. Now, this is what the optimists think. There is potentially scope for the two sides to look to the longer term in their fraught relationship. But yes, we will look towards each other with certain, I would say, conditions. The military in Pakistan should be willing to. The government in India should be willing to. Terrorism sponsoring by Pakistan should not be there, most importantly. Then only we can look towards each other. Else, we are adopting this policy of doctrine of indifference. Mission KARAMYOGI, it is a requested topic. Someone from you guys actually requested this in the message or in the comment section. That is why I've decided to pick it up. And I would encourage you guys, by whatever topics you feel that I should be covering, you can mention them in the comment box. Whenever time will be there, I will definitely be covering them if they are worth covering. So definitely this topic was worth covering, so I'm covering it. Mission KARAMYOGI, or National Program for Civil Services Capacity Building, is basically a program which was launched by the government in the year 2020. The Prime Minister of this is this viewpoint that we cannot become a developed country if the civil services or the civil servants in our country, which are, I would say, the main implementers of welfare schemes or program, or the main carriers of growth, if they are not, fully developed or fully, ready for the future, will not be a developed country. If they are working in silos means they are working in confinement, they do not have coordination with each other or other departments. They're only, seeing rules and then working. This I have to do, this I don't have to do. We'll not be a developed country like this. As bureaucracy or civil services have been defined as the steel frame of any country, and it is of our country as well. So that steel frame needs to be, very strong. The junk has to be removed from that steel frame because that junk is making the steel frame weak. So we can consider it in this way that the mission KARAMYOGI is there to remove that junk and make the civil services ready for the future, more strong, more robust, more resilient. So this mission KARAMYOGI aims to prepare civil services or civil servants for the future by making them more creative, constructive and innovative. There will be more focus on site learning. On-site learning means training programs are all were there earlier also. And those were there confined in the four walls of the room. You come for training, you take training for a week or 2 days, 3 days, whatever the tenure of the training was. And then you go back to your services. You go back to your, I would say, Karam Bhumi, where you were deployed. So there was seldom any chance, or there was less chances of implementing what you learned during those trainings. Now this has been changed, this has been revised. Training will be given on site. On site means they will take you to the places where problems are and then they will teach you that how to resolve these problems. Training will be there in the four walls also, but yes, this step is also taken that they will take you on ground and teach you over there that how to implement these things or how to solve these kind of problems. They'll train you for that. Isn't it better? It is definitely better. So that is what on-site learning means in complementing off-site learning. So this is what Mission KARAMYOGI is. The objectives are to provide a mechanism to continuously build capacity, update the talent pool and provide equal opportunities for personal and professional growth. KARAMYOGI seeks to shift the focus from rule specific to role specific. Now we need to understand this properly. Bureaucracy is defined as a system of order givers and order takers. If you are upper in the hierarchy, you will give the orders or you will pass the orders and the lower ones will take the orders. No doubt about this fact that this system should be there. There should be rules which should be there. But if you are excessively focusing on the rules, which you should do, but if you are focusing on the rules and showing the intention of non-functioning, that should not be there. Your role as a civil servant is to do public service, is to serve the public, is to solve the problems of the public. Your role as a civil servant is the development of the society. You should not forget your role. And as the society is transforming, the demands of the society are also changing. You need to fulfill those demands. Like for example, I will give you an example over here. Earlier what used to happen was, when digitalization was getting diffused, this online platforms and all, they were gaining popularity. Crimes started to happen in the online space, on social media platforms and all. But at that time, there were no rules made by the bureaucracy to tackle them. There was no law also. So at that time, many civil servants, they ran away from these kind of crimes. Ki bhai, there is no rule for this, or there is no law for this. We will not tackle this. But that was a problem of the society which was emanating. And as their role as a civil servant, they had to tackle those problems at that time. So what I mean to say is that you should understand your role as a civil servant and deliver the services. I'm not telling that you should violate the rules. Rules are there to be followed. But don't misuse the rules for non-functioning. That is what you need to understand from this. The mission will help training the officers to meet the challenges of the society. It aims at building future-ready civil services with the right attitude, skills and knowledge aligned to the vision of New India. New India, basically a developed India, a technologically advanced India. There will be new kinds of problems in this New India. So you should be able to tackle those new kinds of problems. The endeavor is also to end the culture of working in silos. Actually, if you search the meaning of silos, silos is basically those containers in which the food grains are stored after cultivating. Working in silos simply means that you are not coordinating with anyone and you are simply doing your work. You know your work is this has to be done. You are working like this, but you are not coordinating with other people. This lack of coordination or lack of communication can make you inefficient, can make you do the same work again and again. But if you coordinate with others, it can make your work easy as well. And it can help others as well. So we want to end this culture of working in silos. Collaborating with each other, coordinating with each other should be the key, and I would say communication here is the key. It will improve human resource management practices in the government and will use scale and state-of-the-art infrastructure to augment the capacity of civil servants. Now, the institutional structure which is very much important for implementing this Mission Karamyogi. There is this PM's HR Council. It is the apex body to provide strategic directions to capacity building reforms. This is the head or the apex body which is responsible for implementing it, and see how important it is. The PM is there heading this. Cabinet Secretariat Coordination Unit works to monitor progress and execution and oversees the plans. Capacity Building Commission works to harmonize training standards, create shared faculty and resources and facilitate world-class learning. And KARAMYOGI Bharat Special Purpose Vehicle, SPV stands for Special Purpose Vehicle, owns and operates the online platform I Got KARAMYOGI, which is there on this online platform. The civil servants can take online training modules. So this I Got KARAMYOGI is basically that online training module or that online training platform which is owned by KARAMYOGI Bharat Special Purpose Vehicle, which hosts various training programs in online mode. Now, these are the 6 pillars of Mission KARAMYOGI. Policy framework is there. New training policies will be there with the focus of continuous learning and driving competencies. Competency framework, shift from rule to role based, which we've seen. Institutional framework, oversight by PM HR Council. I Got KARAMYOGI, that online platform. EHRMS, strategic HR management is there. And M&E, basically continuous performance analysis, data driven goal setting and real time monitoring will be there. It is kind of a management and I would say platform it is to manage the functioning of the civil servants. So this is what the 6 pillars of Mission KARAMYOGI are. And the last topic for the today is CAR T cell therapy. CAR stands for chimeric antigen receptor gene. It is a gene. This gene is infused in the T cell. T cell is basically part of or a type of a white blood cell which is responsible for fighting diseases in the body. And this CAR T cell therapy is for which disease? It is basically for fighting cancers. Now, indigenous CAR T cell therapy, we have developed it by ourselves here in India. And is India the first country to do so? No. But yes, India is the first developing country to do so, to develop its own CAR T cell therapy. Now, indigenous CAR T cell therapy is now available for commercial use. The first patient has been declared free of cancer who underwent this treatment in October-November this year. So in November 2023, India's Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, CDSCO, authorized NextCar 19 Next, CAR-19 is basically the name of the CAR-T, the indigenous CAR-T cell therapy which we have developed. India's first homegrown CAR-T cell therapy developed by ImmunoAct, affiliated with IIT Bombay. So now the first patient has become free of cancer. That is a very good news. Now about CAR-T cell technology, we will be, seeing this through this particular image. Blood is removed from the patient. This is the hand of that person who is having cancer. And not basically the blood, the T cells are removed. Remove blood from the patients to get T cells. So blood is removed and from that T cells are taken. These T cells basically are inserted with a gene. This gene is called as chimeric antigen receptor gene. Now this is basically biotechnology coming into picture. There is that technology CRISPR-Cas9 in which gene editing is done. You insert a molecular scissor over here. This molecular scissor will cut the gene, and this chimeric antigen receptor gene, this which is called as the desired gene, this will be pasted over there in that genetic sequence. This is all happening through CRISPR-Cas9 technology, which we've covered it earlier as well. So this gene is inserted in this T cell. The chimeric antigen receptor is there. This you can see in this inserted gene. Millions of CAR cells or CAR T cells are grown, and then these CAR T cells are infused into the patient. When these CAR T cells are infused, these chimeric antigen receptor genes capability is that it can identify the cancer cells. So when it goes, it identifies these cancer cells, and since these are T cells, means type of white blood cells, they go and attack them and kill them. And that is how cancer is treated, and that is why that first person got free of cancer by using this CAR-T cell therapy. So this is how it works. Now, significance of this therapy is that this therapy is more curative than chemotherapy and designed for non-responsive cancer patients. Next, CAR-19 specifically targets cancer cells with CD9 protein. This is the protein which it targets. India became one of the first developing nations with its indigenous CAR-T and gene therapy platform. First developing nation. Developed nations have already done that. The therapy is primarily for B-cell lymphoma. B-cell lymphoma, B-cell is also another type of WBC, and B-cell lymphoma is a kind of cancer which is there in the white blood cells. White blood cells, that is our B cells. So this is basically the significance of CAR-T cell therapy. CRISPR-Cas9 technology, that is a gene editing technology, is being used over here as well. So this is how, we are going to treat cancers in the future. Just hoping and praying that this technology is affordable. It is not, or it should not be, I would say, too expensive for the poor not to afford it. There will be no use of such kind of new inventions if it is not available for the masses. We need to think in this direction. And with this, I've come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. I'm not going to repeat it today. Namaste. Jai Hind.